everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Today, we are going to explore the fascinating world of omics technologies and how they are changing the way we approach agriculture. Whether you are a science enthusiast or someone curious about the future of food production, you are in the right place. Did you know by 2050 the world will need to produce about 70% more food to feed the growing population, all the while facing climate change and shrinking resources? We are diving into genomics and proteomics, two groundbreaking fields that are making crops smarter and more resilient, with how genomics is giving us the blueprint for crop improvement. But wait, before we dive deep into that, let's hear from Anis about why this even matters in the first place. Why are we talking about genomics in agriculture?
Great question, Patricia. Let's take a moment to break this down. The global demand for food is growing faster than ever before. By 2050, we will need to produce about 60% more food to feed the world's populations. But this isn't just about growing more. We have to do it under increasingly difficult conditions. Think about climate change. We are seeing more frequent droughts, floods, extreme temperature shifts, and also new pest outbreaks that can threaten the food production across the globe. So how do we tackle such a huge challenge? That's where the genomics comes in, and trust me, it's a game changer. Genomics is the study of an organism's entire set of genes, also known as genomes. You can think of it like an instruction manual written in the language of DNA. This manual contains all the information the plants need to grow, defend itself, survive drought, resist diseases, and even produce nutritious foods. When scientists study plant genomes, they are essentially decoding this manual, looking for the important instructions that tell us how a plant behaves and also how it can be improved. Now, here's the exciting part. By understanding these genes, we can identify which ones are responsible for useful traits like resistance to drought, salt, or pests. Once we know where these helpful genes are located, we can begin to select and breed plants in a much more targeted way. Let me give you a concrete example. In crops like rice and maize, scientists have discovered genes that help the plants to survive with less water. Traditionally, plant breeding could take years or even decades because farmers would cross plants and just hope for the best trait to show up in the future generations. But now, with genomics, we can speed up that process using tools like marker-assisted selections. So, what is marker-assisted selections? Think of it like using a GPS when you are traveling. Instead of guessing the best route, the GPS guides you straight to your destinations. In genomics, scientists use DNA markers, the little flags that are linked to specific genes, to help them quickly find the plants with the traits that they want. So, if we want a drought-resistant rice variety, we use the DNA markers to pick out the plants that carry the right genes, and then we breed those. This kind of targeted breeding means we can develop new plant varieties faster, more accurate, and with greater confidence. And this doesn't just help with water shortage. We can also develop plants that are more nutritious, need few chemical inputs like pesticides or fertilizers, and can survive in marginal soils that were once considered unusable for farming. Let's say we want to improve food security in a region where the soil is very salty, like in some coastal areas. Normally, most crops wouldn't grow there, but with genomics, we can search for salt-tolerant genes in white plants and traditionally breed them into modern crops. This opened up entirely new areas of land for food productions, something that was nearly impossible just a few decades ago. So, in a nutshell, genomics is revolutionizing agriculture. It's helping us design crops that are not only high-yielding, but also more resilient and sustainable. Imagine a world where the farmers, even in a harsh climate with little water, can grow enough food for their communities. That is the kind of future genomics is building, and it is happening right now. So thank you again, Patricia, for such a thoughtful questions. I hope this gave you a clearer idea of how powerful genomics really is. and how it is helping to shape the future of the food security for everyone.
Exactly, Anis. And while genomics give us the genetic blueprint, proteomics take it a step further by zooming in on the actual players in the plant, which is the protein. These proteins are the real workhorse, carrying out nearly every biological process essential for plant survival and productivity. Whether it is defending against pests, adjusting to environmental changes, or helping in nutrient transport and storage, proteins are the one making it all happen on the ground level. You can think of it this way. If genomics is like having the architectural plan of a building, proteomics is like visiting the construction site to see which workers are actually present, what tools they are using, and how well they are performing their tasks. It helps scientists figure out which proteins are active, in what amount, where they are located in the plant, and how they interact with each other, which then provide a real-time snapshot of the plant's actual response to its environment. Now, let's focus on something really important: plant stress response. This is where proteomics becomes a game changer. Plants are constantly exposed to stress like extreme heat, drought, or high salt level in the soil. Through proteomic analysis, researchers can detect which specific protein increase or decrease when plant face this kind of stress. For example, heat shock protein help prevent damage during high temperature, while antioxidant enzyme reduce cellular damage caused by drought. By understanding these protein level changes, scientists can identify which proteins are crucial for stress tolerance. And here is the best part. Once we know which proteins are responsible, we can use that information in breeding programs or even in genetic engineering. This means we are not just selecting plants that look healthy under stress. We are choosing one that have the right molecular tools, which mean the right protein to survive and thrive. In essence, it's like giving plants a built-in upgrade, allowing them to stay strong and productive even under harsh conditions. This kind of insight is incredibly valuable for developing climate-resilient crops and supporting sustainable agriculture in a changing world.
That's right, Nabila. Now, let's shift from theory to real-world impact and explore how these technologies are revolutionizing agriculture. Let's start with genomics. One of the most application is in crop improvement through genome-wide association studies or GWAS. For example, in maize, researchers have identified genomic regions linked to traits like oil, protein, and starch content, even yield under different nitrogen conditions. Thanks to its relatively simple genetic architecture, oil content has shown especially high predictive accuracy. This data is now being used in genomic selection models, allowing breeders to enhance nutritional quality and yield potential. So yes, we are literally designing smarter crops from the genetic level up. Another game changer comes in disease and pest resistance. Take wheat for example. Scientists discovered that the TACIPK14 gene made wheat susceptible to stripe rust, which is a major disease in many regions. But here is the twist. Using CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing, researchers knocked out all three homologs of this gene in wheat. The result? Broad-spectrum resistance to multiple strains of the pathogen without compromising growth or yield. That is a big win for sustainable farming. Now, switch to proteomics, the study of protein, which are like the frontline worker in any plant biological system. In terms of plant stress response, cutting offer a great example. Proteomic analysis help identify proteins involved in antioxidant defenses and cellular repair, which directly translates to stress-tolerant crop varieties. Similarly, in rice and wheat, specific proteins linked to drought and disease resistance have been uncovered, guiding breeders towards even more targeted strategies. And let's not forget food quality and safety. Proteomics is helping to fine-tune both. In rice, for example, protein content is being enhanced to tackle malnutrition, especially in regions where rice is dietary staple. Scientists are also using proteomic tools to detect allergens and toxins in crops, ensuring the food on our table is not just nutritious but also safe. Plus, proteomics does not stop at the farm. It is being used to assess how food processing impact protein quality in everything from dairy to plant-based meats. That helping companies uphold high standards while delivering better nutrition to consumers. So, in short, genomics and proteomics are not abstract concepts. They are active tools reshaping how we feed the world. Together, these omics technologies are build a food system that's more resilient, nutritious, and prepared for the challenges of climate change.
That is so exciting. It is amazing to see how genomics and proteomics are not just improving crops but also helping tackle global issues like food security. But here is the best part. The future looks even brighter. But here is where things get even more interesting. Scientists are now combining genomics, proteomics, transcriptomics, and metabolomics, what we call multi-omics, to get a complete picture of plant health and performance. This integration helps us understand how genes and proteins interact, speeding up the development of crops that are resilient, nutritious, and sustainable. We are also heading towards an era of precision agriculture, where technologies like drones, sensors, and satellite data are used alongside omics data. This allows farmers to make real-time decisions, optimize resource use, and minimize environmental impact. Artificial intelligence (AI) and big data analytics are now helping scientists and farmers make sense of massive omics datasets, making breeding more precise and efficient than ever before. Imagine a world where we can predict the needs of each individual plant in real time, helping farmers grow healthier crops with fewer inputs.
Naturally, there are still challenges. As exciting and promising as omic technology are, they come with a high level of complexity. Each type of omic data provide a different layer of information, and bringing all those layers together to get a full accurate picture of plant biology is no small task. Another major challenge lies in data interpretation. Sometimes, protein expression doesn't align perfectly with gene expression, and the environmental condition add another level of variation. Beyond the technical side, there are ethical and economic considerations, questions around the safety of GMO, public perception, regulatory policies, and intellectual property rights still need to be addressed with transparency and care. Cost is another factor. Developing and applying omic technologies, especially on a large scale, can be expensive. But despite these challenges, the outlook is promising. With continued innovation, global collaboration, and responsible research practice, many of these obstacles can be overcome. Investment in open source tools, training, and fair policy making are helping to bridge the gap. Ultimately, this effort paved the way for a more sustainable, resilient, and secure food future.
It is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it, right? The future of farming is becoming more efficient, sustainable, and technologically advanced. By combining genomics, proteomics, and cutting-edge tools like CRISPR and AI, we can create crops that not only survive in tough environments but actually thrive. So, to wrap things up, these omics technologies are not just innovation for scientists, they are tools for the future of agriculture that could change the way we feed the world, especially as we face challenges from climate change. As we look ahead, let's remember the future of agriculture is not just in the soil, but it is the combination of the data, molecule, and innovation that bring it to life.
Let's wrap up this podcast with some question. How do you think this omic technology will shape what is on your plate in the next 10 years? Will we be eating rice that can thrive in salty soil? Or maybe vegetables enhanced not just in size or shelf life, but in nutrient content tailored to human health needs? Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you learned something new about the incredible potential of genomic and proteomic in agriculture.
Thank you so much for tuning in to our podcast today. We truly appreciate you taking the time to join us on this journey of discovery and explorations. If today's episode sparked your curiosity or left you wanting to know more, don't worry, there's plenty more where that come from. Be sure to check out our full portfolio of episodes, articles, and recommended references, all carefully curated to help you dive deeper into the fascinating world of science. We would also love to hear from you. Your feedback, questions, and even your topic suggestions help us make this podcast even better. Feel free to connect with us on social media or leave a comment wherever you are listening. And if you are enjoying these episodes, don't forget to share it with your friends, colleagues, or anyone who might be interested. Every share helps us grow this community of curious minds. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring the wonders of science with us. Take care.